Today we'll be doing a Korean case. I'd like to preface by saying I apologise for any mispronunciations, but today we'll be talking about the raincoat killer, whose name was Yoo Young-chul, and he is known as the deadliest killer in South Korea. His disdain for the wealthy began at a very young age, and he was born on April 18th in 1970. He also grew up poor in a rural part of South Korea in Gochang County. He had developed a bitter jealousy of a wealthy family that lived near him. Prosecutors at his trial said Yoo's disappointing family and economic environment transformed into a hostility against the rich. He spent his young adulthood being a criminal. He was convicted of theft in 1988 and 1991, burglary in 93, and robbery, forgery, and identity theft in 98. In 2000, he was convicted of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl. Behind bars, he started to form his murderous plans. He had read articles about another serial killer who had targeted rich people, and he wanted to do the same. When Yoo's wife, a former massage parlor worker, divorced him, his hatred towards women started. After he was released in September 2003, the plotting began for his first victim. He started buying weapons and practiced by killing dogs. On September 24, 2003, just 13 days after his release, he struck for the first time. He went to an upscale neighborhood of Shinsadong and snuck into a two-story house owned by 72-year-old Lee Dok-soo, a university professor, and his 68-year-old wife Lee Eun-uk. Before either of them could react to Yoo, he attacked them with his hammer, beating them both to death. From this point, his murderous spree began to pick up speed. Again in October, he killed 3 members of a family in Koidong. In November, he killed twice, first the wife of a millionaire in Samsedong, then killing a wealthy man and his housekeeper in Haewadong. Police didn't know what was going on. The victims had no relations with each other, and the murderer had not taken any of their valuables. All they have was some footprints and grainy CCTV footage. There were very little clues on the killer himself. Yoo, on the other hand, started to focus on sex workers. Since his divorce, he had hated women and even contemplated killing his ex-wife. But this hatred developed further when his girlfriend left him. His wife had worked in a massage parlor and his girlfriend had a job as well, which often doubled as prostitution. So he started to target women that would remind him of both. He started calling sex workers from Seoul massage parlors to his apartment. Once the woman came over, he had sex with them and then bludgeoned them with a sledgehammer that he'd custom made to fit his grip. After mutilating their bodies, he would use axes, knives, and scissors to cut his victims into 16 to 18 pieces. He tore off their fingerprints to prevent any identification and stuffed their remains in garbage bags, which he buried on a mountain near Pogwon Temple. According to him, he sometimes even ate parts of his victims because he believed it would cleanse his spirit. Between May and July 2004, he had killed at least 11 women, but their deaths compared to the deaths of the wealthy had very little concern. Only the owners of the massage parlors knew that something was very wrong. Finally, he made a mistake. He had used one of the victims' phones to contact the massage parlor, and it turned out to be a missing girl, and the owners recognized the phone number and then called the police. The police did send an officer to look out for Yoo, but the officer left before he even showed up, and so the massage parlor employees detained him themselves. Once the police had him in custody, they realized this was going to be a roller coaster. He considered himself a smart person and claimed to have an IQ of 140, faked an epileptic fit, and managed to escape for 12 hours. Once he was arrested again, he confessed to everything he had done. He also agreed to lead the police to the bodies of the victims on the mountain. Because he wore a yellow raincoat during this, the media then came up with his name, the Raincoat Killer. He later said he was sorry for what he had done, but said that he would have kept killing if he hadn't been caught. He also admitted having killed random people out of his selected targets. In all, he confessed to have killed 26 people. At his first trial in September 2004, he said, "The media keeps saying that I've murdered so many people, but to me it was only a mere start. I had no intention of stopping." He showed little revulsion for what he had done. In a letter to police, he said he felt the most fear when his son called him while he was mutilating a body. He said, "The scariest moment was not when a decapitated head fell off from a hanger, or when a headless body came running to me. It was when my son called to ask if I still have a cold." In December 2004, Yu was convicted of 20 homicides and sentenced to death. But since South Korea has a hold on executions, he's currently serving time at the Seoul Detention Center. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.